Hey, before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. You can take the guest room or leave. My mother said when my sister suddenly showed up with her husband. Perfect, if you can be out by the weekend, my sister added with her usual chipper tone. I packed my things and left. But just a few days later, her smug grin vanished. Panic replaced it. She's lying. Mom, tell me she's lying. My name is Violet. I'm 28, and for the last 5 years, I've been living with my mother in the house my father rebuilt just before he passed. Dad died unexpectedly, heart failure. The house wasn't even completely finished. One week, we were picking kitchen tiles together. The next, I was sitting beside my mom as she stared blankly at the wall, barely able to lift herself from bed. The funeral fell on a rainy Friday. My younger sister, Josie, flew in wearing designer sunglasses and a silk scarf, cried like a movie star, then left by Sunday morning. I stayed. I stayed because someone had to. Mom was fragile. The mortgage wasn't fully paid, and someone had to handle it. And I hated to admit it, I felt responsible. I owed my father that much. He loved Mom. Even when she criticized him or snapped over minor things, he never raised his voice. She just needs more grace, he would say. You girls take care of her. So I did. I turned down a promotion that would have relocated me to Seattle. I refused company housing, even though it offered lower rent and a 15-minute commute. I stayed. And for what? To be reminded every day that I wasn't Josie. Josie, the golden child. Josie with her shiny hair, dazzling smile, and Instagram-perfect life. Josie, who left home at 22 to marry Brent, a man whose only real skills seemed to be looking good in a blazer. She was the star at every family gathering. Meanwhile, I was invisible background noise. You should wear more color, Violet, Mom would say. Josie always lights up a room. You look like you're dressing for jury duty. Or, why not start dating again? It's not too late, even for someone like you. I grit my teeth, paid the bills, cleaned the gutters, cooked the dinners. I kept showing up, hoping one day she would notice me, hoping one day I would be enough. Everything changed one Thursday. I came home 2 hours late because of a shipping delay, only to step into a scene that seemed painfully familiar. Josie was curled up on the couch, tissues clutched in her lap. Brent scrolled through his phone like he'd rather be anywhere else. Mom hovered with a tray of tea and shortbread, treating them like visiting royalty. Violet. Mom chirped, as though I'd just dropped by for tea. Guess who's back? I can see that, I muttered. Josie sniffled. Brent lost his job. The company downsized and cut his entire department. She paused. We're behind on rent. Our landlord gave us 2 weeks to leave, Mom added quickly, already draping an arm around Josie. Wait, they're moving in? They need help, Violet. They're family, Mom said. So am I replied slowly. I live here. You'll figure it out, Mom said. You're good at that. I glanced at Josie. She gave a tiny shrug and mouthed, sorry. But the smirk tugging at her lips said otherwise. Later that evening, I pulled Mom aside. This house barely fits 2 adults, I said. Where will they sleep? In your room, she said simply. What? You can take the guest room or move out. Your choice. I'm serious. I'm not discussing this. I've always wanted Josie back. She belongs here. I've been paying the mortgage. It's in my name. You've acted like you're doing me a favor, but you never needed to. You were a mess after Dad died. And now I have Josie. I don't need you. It felt like a slap across the face. The next morning, Josie knocked on my door, cheerful and unapologetic. Hey, Mom says if you could be out by Saturday, that'd be great. Brent and I kind of need the space. Excuse me? She leaned against the doorframe, eyes shining. Come on. You've been living like a spinster. A fresh start will do you good. I shut the door, sat on the edge of my bed, stared at the floor. A manila folder sat on the bookshelf, untouched for months. HR, the offer I declined for company housing when I thought Mom needed me. My hand shook as I opened it. Studio apartment. Clean. Safe. Close to work. Move-in bonus. No screaming, no guilt. No Josie. I made the call. By Friday, the transfer was filed, keys in hand, mover scheduled. I packed in silence. No one helped. No one asked why. They were busy planning a welcome back barbecue. Josie wanted to repaint the kitchen. Brent wanted a new sectional. Saturday morning, a hot breeze rustled the blinds. I stood in the driveway in jeans and a t-shirt, hair in a ponytail, clipboard in hand, as the truck rolled up. Movers raised eyebrows at the stacks of boxes near the porch. "You ready for the big move?" one asked. "Yeah," I said, exhaling. "Let's do this." We loaded everything: my bed, bookshelves, coffee maker, desk, dishes. I took my time. Each box made me feel lighter, stronger, free. By early afternoon, we were nearly done. One mover paused at the door, taking in the now empty room. "You're really taking everything?" I smiled. Calm, unapologetic. "Yes, everything." When the truck drove off, the house I once called home felt hollow. No TV, no coffee table, no dining chairs, no framed pictures, just dust outlines of what had been mine. Everything I had worked for, bought with my own paycheck, assembled with my own hands. All mine. Later, I handed over keys to the staff housing office. The studio apartment was small but bright, quiet, perfect. No humming fridge, perfect water pressure, no bathroom fights. I sat on the mattress and exhaled for the first time in months. That night, I ignored the buzzing of my phone, missed calls, messages from Mom, Josie, Brent. Some angry, some confused. I didn't care. I turned the phone off, made tea, and watched city lights from my balcony. By Monday, they showed up at work. The front desk called, "Violet, your mom's here with your sister." I almost laughed. I hadn't even given them my address. I waited in the loading bay until they left. No confrontation on my turf. That evening, I stopped by the house. Porch light on, living room dark. I used the spare key I hadn't returned. Mom and Josie stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, stormy expressions. Mom didn't waste time. "What did you do?" "What are you talking about?" I asked calmly. "You cleaned the place out. Nothing's left. No fridge, no table, not even the toaster." "That was mine," I said. "Everything I bought, everything I earned." Josie stepped forward. "You can't just take things without permission." "I did have permission," I replied. "You assumed they were yours. That doesn't make it true." Mom snapped. "We didn't think you'd take literally everything." I opened my hands. "What did you expect?" "The house feels empty," Josie said softly. "It's depressing." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I'm sorry. Was the house I paid for not comfortable enough without my things?" Josie narrowed her eyes. "What about the bank account?" I blinked. "What?" "The joint account. Dad's insurance money. It was supposed to help us." I let out a soft breath, already knowing. That money's gone. I've been paying the mortgage on my own for 4 years. Josie froze. "No, there was a lot left. I saw it once. $40,000. That wasn't insurance money," I said. "That was me saving part of my paycheck to cover mortgage and utilities." "No way," Josie muttered. I tilted my head. "Why does it matter? You're not on the deed. It's not your house." Mom's face flickered, first surprise, then panic. Josie turned sharply. "Is she lying?" Mom said nothing. "Mother," Josie pressed. "Tell me she's lying. Tell me." Mom looked away. Josie's hands clenched. "You told me the insurance payout was still there, that if we came back, we'd be okay, that we could use it to get back on our feet." I looked at them, stunned. "You came back for the money?" She spun toward me, her mask completely gone. "You really think we moved back for some wholesome family bonding?" Josie snapped. "Brent and I are buried in debt. He lost his job 2 months ago, and we've been living on maxed out credit cards. You think I wanted to sleep in my childhood bedroom again?" Mom tried to cut in, but Josie raised her voice. "No, Mom, don't. I meant every word. I wouldn't be here if you hadn't promised there was money." Mom's face went pale. "And you?" Josie snarled, jabbing her finger at me. "You cleaned out that house and left us with nothing but empty promises." I folded my arms. "No, I left you with exactly what you gave me, nothing." Josie's lips trembled. "The insurance money was supposed to be shared." "You mean the money you thought you'd inherit?" I asked, my voice cool. "The money you never paid into, never contributed to." We wouldn't be in this mess if you hadn't emptied the house. We wouldn't be in this mess if you hadn't staked your future on a lie, I shot back. Josie turned to Mom, her eyes blazing. You said it was still there. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. I thought we'd figure it out later. Later. That's all you ever say, Josie hissed. Later. Soon. Eventually. You told me to come home. You said we'd be fine. Because I missed you, Mom murmured. No. You missed having someone to lean on. Someone who made you feel important. You never cared about what I needed. I watched them unravel, Josie pacing, Mom stammering, both realizing the truth at the same time. There was never a plan. Only wishful thinking. Brent hadn't come home since yesterday's fight. Josie had maxed out her third credit card. Mom had no savings. 6 years left on the mortgage. And the only person who'd been paying it, me, was gone. Josie's voice dropped to a desperate whisper. You said we could use that money to start over. There is no money, I said flatly. Hasn't been for years. Josie's face crumpled like a child discovering Christmas isn't real. What about the file folder? Dad's paperwork? Gone. Mom used most of it on the bathroom, then the kitchen. Then she bought you that used Lexus when you got married. That was from her savings. I shook my head. No, that was from his insurance. I kept the receipts. Josie turned to Mom. Tell me that's not true. Silence. Tell me. Mom stared at the floor. I didn't want to worry you. Josie let out a strangled sound and stormed down the hall. I stayed where I was, watching the wreckage unfold. Mom turned to me, eyes glossy. Please, Violet. Help us. Why would I? Because you're the only one who knows how to fix things. You called me a parasite. You told me to get out. Remember? I was angry. I didn't mean it. Yes, you did, I said. And now you're exactly where you put yourself. Josie came back into the room, clutching a torn envelope. It's empty, she said bitterly. There's nothing. Not even old bills. I know, I said. I checked. Years ago. Mom sank into a chair at the kitchen table and buried her face in her hands. I looked at the two of them. They'd thrown me out expecting comfort, backup, cash. What they got was an empty house, a mountain of debt, and no one to blame but themselves. And they still didn't see it. They still thought I'd fix it. They still thought I owed them. They were wrong. Josie stood frozen in the hallway, holding that empty folder like it had betrayed her. Mom sat pale at the table, fingers laced, breath shallow. I could see her trying to piece it all together. How she'd lost the house, her grip on both her daughters and most of all me. I don't understand, Mom whispered. What are we supposed to do now? I didn't answer. I mean the mortgage, she continued, her voice rising. The bills. The food. We don't even have a blender anymore. Or a microwave. That was mine, I said evenly. All of it was mine. You could have left me something. But you didn't. You left me with nothing but memories of being second best. Years of pretending I didn't hear you call me dull. Plain, a burden. Josie spun on her. And you told me there'd be money. You said Dad left enough for a second start, that we could pay off the cards, that Brent and I could. You lied to us, I added quietly. Both of us. The difference is, I stopped believing you years ago. Mom opened her mouth, but no words came. I took a deep breath and reached into my tote. I pulled out a white envelope and placed it on the counter. What's this? Josie asked tiredly. My last mortgage receipt. The loan's still in your name, Mom. You'll need to cover it now. 6 more years. Fixed rate. Payments aren't bad, unless you're unemployed and broke. I guess you can't expect us to pay this, Josie snapped. I don't expect anything anymore, I said. I just wanted to leave you the facts. Since fantasy hasn't worked out so well. Josie gritted her teeth. You're heartless. I turned to her. You came back for money, Josie. Not for Mom. Not for love. Not even out of desperation. You were banking on a lie and using people to cover your losses. Don't pretend this is about family. Oh, and you're a saint, she shot back. You just abandoned your mother after everything she's been through. No, I said quietly. I stayed for years. I supported her. I paid for her home, her groceries, her gas, her medical bills, her insurance, her little renovations. I gave her my 20s, and she threw me out the second you came back. So no, I didn't abandon her. She traded me. Mom flinched. Josie looked shaken but covered it with anger. I can't believe you're just walking away. I let out a dry laugh. You should be grateful. I could have emptied the savings account before I left, but I didn't because unlike both of you, I still had an ounce of decency. You're cruel, Mom whispered. No, I said. I'm free. I turned and headed for the door. Good, Josie snapped. We don't need you. I'll figure something out. Brent's talking to a guy about a job. I'm sure he is, I said without looking back. Gambling's a tough industry to break into. Josie cursed under her breath. I stopped at the threshold, hand on the knob. Take care of each other, I said. You wanted her, Mother. Now live with her. And I walked out. The door clicked behind me with a weight that felt symbolic, like years of pain and pressure sealing shut for good. It's been 4 weeks since that day. I haven't heard from them directly, but a former neighbor told me the house went on the market. It sat for 2 weeks before someone lowballed them and they had to accept. Last I heard, they'd moved into a small one-bedroom apartment across town. Josie works part-time at a bakery. Mom's doing admin at a dentist's office. Brent never got that job. I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel satisfying. But more than that, it feels quiet. My new apartment is modest, but mine. The furniture mismatched, but cozy. I cook what I want. Watch whatever I feel like. Sleep through the night without slamming doors or whispered insults. Last week, my manager offered me a lead position. I said yes. This morning, I stopped at a cafe I used to avoid because Mom called it pretentious. I brought a book, drank my cappuccino in peace, caught myself smiling for no reason, and I realized something. They kicked me out thinking I was disposable, a placeholder, a parasite. But in the end, I was the only thing holding everything together. Now they have each other, and I have everything else. Freedom, solitude, stability. Finally, the life I chose.